Hey, what's up guys? Brad with Squared Away Every Day, and today we're going to be talking about snorkels. Are they worth the money? What are the pros and cons of it? And what are we really putting snorkels on the vehicle in the first place anyway? Now, if you haven't had a chance yet, please go ahead and like the video, sub to the channel, and we'll just kind of hop into it here. And actually, I see in the monitor there, yes, I do have a drink today, and there's no ice in it. The ice is all melted, unfortunately. But for those of you that are constantly complaining about ice in my drink and the audio from it, or me chewing gum, rest assured there's no ice in this drink. But in the words of Kelly Kapoor from The Office, I make like $1 a year off of this. You can chill. Okay, let's hop into the video. Now, actually, quickly, let's see here, knife check. What am I carrying? Boom! Microtech stitch, probably one of the coolest Microtechs they make. Super great fit and finish on this knife, and it's definitely a better work knife than like the standard OTFs I typically carry. Okay, hopping into the video for real now. All right, snorkels. What are the pros and cons? Why did I get a snorkel in the first place? Now, I think most people that get snorkels are doing it because they look very cool. Snorkels make the front of your vehicle look more beefy, and if you have a built-out truck like I do, it just adds to that aggressive look, and it looks awesome. There's no doubt about that. It looks great. But for me, if you've been following the channel for any length of period of time, you're gonna know that I'm a function over form guy, and I definitely have to have some like more things going on than just it looking cool. So for me, the biggest reason why I bought the snorkel is because I wanted cleaner air being sucked into the engine. That's really it. That's the biggest reason. Now, I'm in the mountains all the time, and it's like every road is dirt in the mountains. And so you're sucking in a lot of dirt into your engine over a long period of time. The longevity of that engine is gonna be less. So just to kind of help the rig out, it's a very expensive rig at this point with all the crap I've thrown on it. And so just to kind of protect my investment, or some sort of capital investment, if you will, I put on the snorkel just because, yes, that 2 or 3 feet of difference of the air coming into the engine bay via the air intake, it makes a big difference on the longevity of that motor. Now, it's not like a huge deal to where if you don't have a snorkel and you drive on dirt roads for a year, your truck is just gonna crap out. It's not like that, but it's just like a slow degradation over time is what it is. So for me personally, I like having the snorkel, especially if I'm trailing like my brother-in-law or something on a trail and we're camping or on a trip or something. I'd like to have just a little bit higher of an intake, because the higher you are, the cleaner the air is going to be, and the cleaner the air is going to be going into your engine. So that's a big deal for me. Now, a quick little tip on the actual tops to these snorkels is you can get a couple different kinds of tops, and you can do a couple different things to mitigate the amount of particulates getting into the engine. And one thing you can do is you can buy these like pre-filters. It looks like a dome on top, and you can just buy them at Tractor Supply or anything like that. And really, those are specifically meant for tractors, and they're kind of cool because some of them spin around inside, and they can actually throw out dirt and debris and particulates out as you're moving along. There's definitely some pros and cons to it. That's a different video for a different day, but it is an option. It's probably something I'm gonna switch to probably in the near future. I just haven't done it yet. Now, if you're anticipating that you're gonna be on a really dusty road or something like that, you can actually flip around this snorkel so that you're sucking in air from the back, and that's going to be a cleaner pull versus just like from the front, especially if you're trailing behind somebody. So if you're anticipating a particularly dusty drive or just a lot of particulates in the air, spin that thing around and you're going to have a cleaner pull of air into the engine bay. So that's really nice. Now, obviously, another one why everybody kind of thinks you'd get a snorkel is because you're going to have better capability at water crossings, which means really, again, you're just pulling air from a higher location, which means it's got a less likelihood that you're actually going to pull water into the engine and just completely incapacitate that engine. So me personally, I'm not somebody who really likes to push the limits, especially on water. I know too much about rivers and stuff, and it's just even a little bit of water can really just whoop, pick your vehicle up and take it down the river. So me personally, I'm not huge on water crossing. Yes, they're fun, but it's just the risk versus reward isn't really there for me. Now, sometimes you find yourself in a situation where you just have to cross, otherwise you've got to like really backtrack. And so if you have to do it, you have to do it, and that's fine, and have fun while you're doing it. But It's just a little extra peace of mind having that snorkel so that you can actually pull a little bit higher off of the ground and then hopefully not pull any water into the engine there. Now, if you're somebody who lives in a state where you get a lot of flooding in general, or if you live in a state like Colorado where we'll get a lot of runoff in the spring, and you may be crossing something that was like this much water in fall, and now it's like this much water in spring, and it does happen, and you just get caught off guard, it's a good idea to have some sort of backup in the form of a snorkel. And at that point, you're probably looking at like diff breathers and stuff like that too. Now, I've also heard the different pros and cons on diff breathers as well, and just all that stuff, but again, a different video for a different day. So that's kind of it. That's the big three positives to getting the snorkel. Is going to be obviously the air intake is just cleaner. You've got better capability at water crossing, and it just looks super cool. Now, the two downsides that I see to it really is going to be the cost. It costs money to do if it doesn't just come factory or stock from the factory. And really the cost on this snorkel is about 560 bucks. And then maybe you're going to have to pay like $20 to $40 in just hardware to actually get the thing mounted to your truck. So there's that. Now, for me personally, I didn't mount this to the truck. This entire truck actually has pretty much been built out by Slee Off-Road in Golden, Colorado. And I'm really grateful for that, because those guys build those trucks like they're their own trucks. And it's probably one of the premier four-wheel drive shops in the entire country, specifically for Toyotas, and even more specifically for Land Cruisers, which they do work on a lot of, obviously, Tacomas and 4Runners as well. So keep that in mind if you need something and you're in kind of the Colorado area or surrounding states. Slee Off-Road does a great job. So anyway, for me, I didn't have to see any of the cuts in the truck. I didn't have to do any of this, and that's a big downside and a big regret people have, is they try to actually cut the hole for their truck themselves, and they're not used to it. And so just doing that to something that you've paid so much money for and spent so much time with, and if you don't do it all the time and you mess it up even a little bit, you're gonna know in the back of your mind, like, damn it, under there it's super janky. Now me, I have no idea. I have no idea how janky it is under here. I would bet that it's very, very clean, just because Slee does so many snorkels and stuff like that, that I just am not worried about it. I bet it's super clean under here. But if it's not, I'm none the wiser, and it looks great, the end result in the product to me, and it functions perfect. So I would highly recommend you just have somebody throw it on there. For me, I think they charged me around 400 bucks for the actual install, so I was just under $1,000 for parts and labor to actually get the thing on the truck. And I think that's money well spent, especially on a rig like this that is so far built at this point. It's like, why wouldn't I do a snorkel? And just the capital investment of protecting the engine even further, I think, is a big deal. Now, one thing that I didn't mention, specifically with just these stock tops on the snorkels, is the holes are big. We've got some pretty big holes here, and there's been people known to like suck up birds and stuff like that while they're driving, like specifically on the highway at like higher speeds. So again, another reason why I'll probably switch to a pre-filter is just to make it so that it's less likely that you're gonna suck in, you know, big stuff into this and then into the actual engine, because that is not good at all. So anyway, those are kind of the pros and cons. Is it worth it to me? Yes, I'm stoked that I did it. I think it's awesome, and it looks great, and it's functional. And so that kind of hits all my high points of when I'm spending money in general. So for me, I dig it. Now, again, if you haven't had a chance yet, please go ahead and like the video and sub to the channel. Now, if you've been watching the channel, you'll notice that I've been doing a lot of different stuff, like Tesla Model S plaid videos and knife videos and just all sorts of different stuff. And I'm about to get into the season now to where I can start pumping out a lot more videos. And really, I just like to put out videos that it's stuff that I think is cool. And so that's what the channel is. It's like, what does Brad think is cool this week? And that's what we're getting videos on. So yes, a lot of what I think is cool is like truck stuff. And I've got a bunch of different mods on this truck that you haven't even seen yet, you're not even aware of, and most Tacomas on the planet don't even have. And so I'll be covering all that stuff. It's definitely still cool to me. I still am into that, but I've got a lot of different interests, and so I'll be throwing all that stuff up on the channel. So even if you don't like the Tesla stuff or the knife stuff or the gear stuff or whatever, just stay tuned, keep subscribed, and don't watch the video if something pops up that you don't like. But there is a lot of Tacoma stuff still to come, and we will see you in the next one.